Yes, in reviewing classic movies, I'd like it to be for a movie starring John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Maria de Medeiros, Ving Rhames, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, Christopher Walken, and Bruce Willis. Oh, and be written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. That'd be a cool movie. I'd like to see that. Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was the movie that put Tarantino on the map as one of the directors to look out for. So Pulp Fiction stars everyone I named in the beginning of this video, and what's it about? It's actually kind of tough. It's about a couple mobster hitmen and a mob boss and a mob boss's wife and a boxer. And the Pulp Fiction. By Pulp Fiction, I mean really well-written dialogue. Yeah, with all these elements you'd think, oh, okay, it's like a mob movie with a lot of mob stuff and action. A few guns get fired, but that's not what drives the movie. The driving force behind this movie is the dialogue. That's right, the philosophy behind V for Vendetta is that words will always retain their power. No movie illustrates this more than Pulp Fiction. If you love superbly written dialogue in movies, you will probably like Pulp Fiction. I think that's more than opinion at that point. You like great dialogue? Yeah, here's Pulp Fiction. Merry Christmas. Now, I saw Pulp Fiction a lot in high school. I didn't tell my mom that I watched it a lot in high school, but the fact is I did. One, because she didn't want me watching movies like Pulp Fiction, and two, if she ever got curious enough to watch it with me, it'd be like, what did he say? He said, bring out the gimp. Yeah, it'd be stupidly awkward. I wouldn't want that. Now, from the get-go in Pulp Fiction, you know exactly what movie you're in for. Great dialogue, a lot of racial slurs, a lot of shits, fucks, and dammits, and the movie being obscurely original. And yeah, I gotta give it up to Tarantino for that. Whenever you have a movie that has a lot of racial slurs in it and no one really gets pissed about it, good writing right there. At most, someone's gonna be like, I usually would get mad, but that was some good use of that word right there. And to top off making this movie some original work, instead of running in chronological order from start to finish, the movie's chapters are all mixed up in a really stylistic kind of way. In fact, half the fun when you're done watching is going, all right, so if that happened then and this happened there, this would have happened first. That would have happened. No, that wouldn't have happened last because there's still that. It's just kind of cool piecing the movie together after the first time you watch it. And the characters are absurdly awesome too. Just when you're like, I think I've seen every character they're gonna bring on scene. Oh no, there's Harvey Keitel. He plays the wolf. That dude is incredibly smooth. I want to be like that guy. You know, he's all right. John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, man, I would say they make this movie as long as you know that they're not the only ones who make the movie great. 90% of the scenes in this movie are great. Like, so you can have random dialogue. You can be like, I pick this random piece of dialogue in Pulp Fiction to be on my tombstone when I die. And I'll probably be like, yeah, that's not a bad pick. After you see this movie, you're gonna be quoting the living shit out of it. I remember my brother's high school drama teacher. She was like, all right, everyone group together and play scenes from movies. At a point, she was like, no more Pulp Fiction. It's almost cheating at this point. You're all doing it. Another thing that works about Pulp Fiction is the soundtrack. After you watch Pulp Fiction, you're gonna have all these songs in your head and you're gonna be like, yeah, I wanna get the soundtrack now. And what you notice is the soundtrack is really well edited to the scenes of the movie. Like in the whole Bring Out the Gimp scene, the song starts when they're going into the back room and ends when the scene is done. No spoilers. It's really hard to edit something like that. That and the songs are really catchy. Yeah, catchy's always good for me. The only part the movie ever really slows down for me is when Bruce Willis and his girlfriend are hanging out in the hotel talking. It's almost a direct contradiction to everything I've built up about the dialogue, but it's the one scene for me where I'm like, all right, I'm less interested. And with the birth of a great movie like Pulp Fiction comes the inevitable afterbirth of all the Pulp Fiction wannabes. You know those movies that try to have the dialogue carry the entire movie, but they come across as pointless because they're just not written and directed by someone who can do it. It's a special kind of talent to make something like this work and work this well. Dialogue-based movie, that should be extremely boring. In this case, it's just not. So great acting, a great premise, great dialogue. It even proves that violence can indeed be funny. Did you laugh when Marvin got shot in the face? Raise your hand if you laughed when Marvin got shot in the face. Yeah, exactly. I laughed my ass off because it was hilarious. You know, I'm not a hipster. I'll say it like this. Every hipster likes Pulp Fiction, but not everyone who likes Pulp Fiction is a hipster. There you go. That's the tricky wording right there. Pulp Fiction definitely is Awesometacular. And I do recognize that Pulp Fiction is not for everybody. If you watch Pulp Fiction, you're like, I can't love it. I'm sorry, it's just not my thing. I recognize that and I get it. But if you're kind of on the fence about Pulp Fiction, you're like, yeah, I love great dialogue in movies, but I'm not sure if I'll like Pulp Fiction, I think you'll be surprised at how much you actually dig this movie. So if you've seen Pulp Fiction, what did you think of it? And what is your favorite chapter in Pulp Fiction? There you go. I'm going to ask you that. Whatever it is, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.